Welcome everybody to Monday Mojo. Today is January 18th, 2016. And we are here with our very special guest, Jaimee Ambrose. Jaimee, and I am just really excited to hear from her. She has quite an amazing story with her own fitness, and she's here to share her story for the purpose of helping us to see an example of somebody who's overcome challenges in the past. And as we see her figure it out, then we have the opportunity and the inspiration to figure out our own challenges. If she can do it, so can you. So can every single one of us. So I'm going to pass it over to Jaimee, put her on full screen. And Jaimee, take it away.
All right. Well, thank you very much for having me tonight. Like you said, Jaimee Ambrose. I've been a coach for almost a year now. It's about 9 months. And I'm a stay-at-home mom, 3 kids. My oldest is 7. I have a 5-year-old and also a 3-year-old. And I've been married to my husband, Matt, for 9 years now. So my story isn't that much different from many moms. Many moms go through the same issues and same things, that I did. Just to give you some background, I've always been very active through high school, even elementary school. I was competitive gymnast, danced, was a cheerleader all through high school. So I was always very active. I was always in shape. Nothing ever with like self-confidence issues. I was always a go-getter and very outgoing. Went to, actually after high school, I started lifting at a gym down the road with one of my friends. And then I went to college and just pretty much stopped working out. And I went out and partied a lot. So normal college stuff. And it was probably about like 6 years after that, I met my husband, got married, and we moved out to, I'm from Pennsylvania, by the way, right by Pittsburgh, and Steelers lost yesterday, so we're all a little bit sad. But we moved out to the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the state, almost Du Bois, Pennsylvania. Nothing was there. And yeah, my kids are probably going to come in here now. And, I was by myself most of the time. My husband was traveling for work. And go, honey, please go. Yeah, she's coming in. This is mom stuff, okay?
It's okay.
Yeah, you gotta go now. Gigi, go tell daddy. This is normal. Okay, so what just happened now happens during all of my workouts. Happens every time I'm on any of my team calls. Like anything that I ever do, I always have a kid coming in. Normal mom stuff. But we moved out to the middle of nowhere. My husband was traveling for work, and I was by myself Monday through Friday. He came back on the weekends. And that's when I first heard of Beachbody programs. My neighbor was doing P90X. I heard of it. Never did it at that point. I never, he had really great results from it. But yeah, but I've never been a cardio girl. So, Juju, go. I mean it. Go to daddy. So we went, we were in Du Bois, and I got pregnant. So that was with my first child, my son, Braddock. He's 7 now. And then we ended up moving back home so we could be with the family and everything. So when my husband was traveling, I wouldn't be all by myself. So that pregnancy, when before a girl gets pregnant, she always thinks, oh, I'm going to be this cute pregnant lady with, I'm going to do my makeup, my hair is going to be nice, and I'm just going to have like a little belly, and I'm going to, put bows on it, or, no. I gained 65 pounds with my son. Juliana, go. I gained 65 pounds with my son. Seriously, go. And during that time, my husband was still traveling a lot. And, I started to get depressed during my pregnancy. But I just thought it was, pregnancy hormones. I don't like being pregnant. Women that say that they do like it, like, great. No. So I had my son in August of 2008. And after that, with that weight gain, I think it was 65 pounds, because I actually stopped looking at the scale, because it was just, I couldn't look at it anymore, because it just kept going up and up and up. After that, I noticed like my knees were cracking all the time. They hurt. And it was from all the weight gain. Then after that, I got really bad postpartum depression, to the point where, like I knew I loved my son, but like I was so disconnected from everything. And it was, I was a mess. So, went to the doctors, they put me on medication for that. And then, a couple months later, I was still feeling really run down. I was still depressed. I wasn't feeling good at all. So, I had some more blood work done, and it came back that I had hypothyroid. And hypothyroidism, it's your thyroid it isn't working. It's just very sluggish. So you're gaining weight, you can be depressed, all kinds of different things. And then they actually tested me for Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is an autoimmune disease. And I have that too. And that's actually where your body is attacking your thyroid and trying to kill it. So you can have flare-ups with that can cause depression and a bunch of different things. But I got that all straightened out, and then I got pregnant with Juliana, the girl that was just in here, Juju. And I had her the day before my 30th birthday. And that was actually a pretty easy pregnancy. They're only 18 months apart. They're a year and a half apart. I only gained 45 pounds with her. Wasn't that bad. And then we always knew that we wanted 3 kids, but we wanted to wait a while. And so we did wait a little bit and started working out a little bit. I think I tried Jillian Michaels' 30-day shred or something. I don't know. And I hated it. But then I got pregnant again, and, and, then had her, my youngest, May of 2012. So at one point I had 3 small kids, 3 kids that were 3 years old and under. And that's where, women, I think they really just kind of lose themselves. You get into mom mode. You're not, you don't feel pretty anymore. You don't feel, you're just wearing the mom hat. You're not the wife. You're not, the friend. You're your mom, because your kids are taking up, they're taking up all your time, which is fine, but you lose yourself during that. So, I got real depressed again. And, I cut my hair, I just did anything that I could that would make things easier. I wasn't wearing makeup. I was eating whatever food was on my kids' table or like on their plate when they were done. And, I just really put myself last. and which is fine for a while, but then there comes a point where you have to stop doing that. My point was, when it got so bad, I was actually covering the mirrors in my house. And, I couldn't stand, I couldn't stand looking at that person. I didn't know her, she wasn't someone that I recognized. I always had, any mom knows that you always have food all over yourself and poop and like, it's just, you get into that mode. But when I started to do that with the mirrors, I realized I'm like, I have two little girls, and they're going to notice that I'm doing that at some point. They're going to realize, what's mommy doing? So that was pretty much my point, where I was like, this has got to change. I can't do this. I just can't do it anymore. So that's when I, started taking care of myself more. I started actually wearing makeup. I actually became a Mary Kay consultant just to, get out of the house and, be with other women and just start to take care of myself again. And that really helped. But there was always something was missing. I still didn't feel good. I looked better, but I still felt like crap. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to start working out again. And did that for like a week, and then I stopped. And, and then that was around the time where my friend, my coach, Jen Pizzolo, she asked me to be in her accountability group. I was like, okay. And I lingered in there for a little bit, and I never posted. And the next breaking point, I had a lot of breaking points, but but the next breaking point was I was going to do one of my classes for makeup. And, you always have, girls and guys, you always have this outfit that, it's your go-to outfit that you feel good in. And, I had this dress and I looked good in it. That was my confident dress. So I put it on and I couldn't zip it. And I was getting ready to run out the door, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, what am I doing? Like, I can't even zip, my hot dress. And I was looking at my arms, and I had no definition in my arms. And I was like, oh, I can contour that, So I actually, I actually made muscles on my arm before I went to this party. And before the party, I'm, having my pizza, dipping it in ranch dressing and contouring my arms. Fabulous. So, so that was it. After that party, I came back and I'm like, that's it. I talked to my coach, and it's like, I can't do this anymore. I'm done. And that was last March. Actually, February or March, it was right around there. And I got into her accountability group, and I started to do PIO. And I like PIO. I started it, stopped it, started it again, stopped it again. And then I saw the something for Body Beast. And I was like, oh, I'm doing it. It's like, I like lifting. I'm doing it. So, I started Body Beast, and it was right away. I fell in love with it. And I took my before pictures. I'm going to show you my before pictures here in a minute. But I took my before pictures, and it was 5 weeks in, and I was like, I'm not seeing any, results. And I was getting kind of down on myself. And then I took another picture. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm not seeing it daily, but, the two pictures side by side, holy crap, this is working. And at that point, I wasn't really going with the meal plan. I was just trying to eat kind of good, but I was still eating, whatever. But I was drinking Shakeology, and I didn't drink Shakeology in the beginning. It was probably right around that 5 week when I saw the change there, that I was like, this is I'm really going for it now. So I started drinking the Shakeology, started, eating cleaner. And at the end of the first round, I didn't lose a lot of weight, but I went down. I started out, I think I was 23% body fat. At the end, I was 13% body fat. And then it was a couple weeks later, because I went to the beach and I actually went a little bit below because I did a real cut. But yeah, and doing the workouts, like before I started working out again, before I started Body Beast, I years ago I had confidence through the roof. I could talk in front of 100 people and it wouldn't bother me. And then the mom mode kicked in and I didn't want to go outside but working out, that I started coaching my kids' soccer team now. That gave me the energy to do that. It's just been great, and I wouldn't have been able to do any of that if I wouldn't have gotten into my coach's accountability group, even just lingered there for a little bit. So right now I have my own accountability group, but I also run another group that's just for moms. It's I call it Super Mom Fitness with Jaimee Ambrose or something like that. And it's I really try to tailor what I'm doing in there just to focus on the moms, because we all have that same story. We all have the same the mom hat, and we all have the same excuses. I don't have time. I don't have space. My kids come first. And, the thing that I think a lot of women and moms and dads, there's a lot of stay at home dads and single dads and, all of that too, is that, you think that you're being selfish by doing this, but it's really selfish not to. Because my kids now, they work out with me. I'll do planks and they'll crawl on my back. My daughter, like if you go on my page, you can see I have videos of me, doing cardio beast with my daughter Juju, the one that was coming in, and she does it right along with me. My son plays football, and he's the only one that could do like push-ups the right way, and he's 7. I'm like, oh, that's right, buddy. So that's pretty much my story. I mean, it's nothing, crazy. It's just, regular mom story. And yeah. So, but I do want to show you some pictures. Or does anyone have any questions for me before?
Yeah, let's do this. Why don't you bring up your pictures?
Okay.
And while you're doing that, if anybody has any questions, you can take yourself off mute. And I suppose for anybody who's watching on Facebook, I think we've got kind of a group here. Kind of cool. Feel free to type a question in the comment, and I'll read it to Jen, and she can answer that as well. But let's go ahead and see if we can get your screen share.
Let me see where I can find. Shoot. Okay. Well, here are my. Is that even? Hold on. Shoot. Where are you at?
By the way, Steve says, no, it wasn't a regular story.
Oh.
We all feel like our story is like so regular and normal, but it's not until we actually start sharing it that we realize how it can connect with other people who are going through the very same thing.
Yeah.
It resonated with me quite a lot, so.
Okay. Oh, here it is. Okay. Here's one. Well, this is, I think, can everyone see this? I don't know. This is the first round of Body Beast. I can tell you this picture, my before pictures, and I don't even look that bad in that picture. It's all pretty much, it was a mental thing for me, because I couldn't wait to just run back and put my clothes back on. That's the one. Hopefully, you guys know which the difference. The ones with the black shorts was that one.
That's the before, and then the color pictures are the after, right?
Yes. How is that coming up here? The one with the smaller shorts. Yeah, or the one after.
You mean the one with the ripped abs? That's the after?
Yes. That's the one.
Look at them abs. Yeah. Here,
I even see a smirk, I think, too.
Yeah, I'll show you another one that you can, the mental is just completely different. Let me get,
It's funny, even the watch got bigger.
the watch got bigger.
Just funny.
you got stronger. All those bicep curls. You can lift a heavier watch.
Right, you can. Let's see what comes up here. Okay, and this was, this is 10 weeks in. Did that even come up?
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't, oh no, where did you go?
It's coming up on this end.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so that is, okay, found it. Okay, so that's 10 weeks in. That's 9 weeks.
Wow. Look at your arm.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, that's awesome.
Okay, hold on, there's more. Okay, I don't know, that was probably around 10 weeks as well. But I mean, you can just see, the difference is like big time mentality. Okay, this one is me at the hospital getting ready to have my son.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, not the same. And that was another picture. I wanted to show you, how pregnancy didn't like me. But okay, so this is this last picture. The one of my license. Is that up yet?
Yep.
Okay, good. So this one of the license is up in the corner. That was actually a day I looked good. That I felt like confident. And that was like total mom mode at that point. I went to the driver's license center and my kids were all at my foot and I didn't even look at the picture. I just let them, do whatever with it. So,
wow.
But yeah, it was a big mental change doing all that. So.
Well, and even just the fact of being able to tell your story right now is something that takes a lot of confidence and a lot of to put yourself out there. I mean, that's a huge part of a journey as well.
Yeah. Yep.
We have a couple minutes for any comments or questions. So if anybody wants to chime in, you can feel free to take yourself off mute. And if you're watching on Facebook Live, you can type a comment. For Jaimee. Jaimee, while they're thinking, I just want to thank you for sharing. And I just love your energy and just your enthusiasm. And I love how, like one of the things that jumped out to me is how you really kind of took things step by step. And like you started with one thing, like you baby stepped it, and then you're like, oh, I think I can do the next step. And then it's like, well, what makes sense for me now? And then you got that step, and then you like it's like you were approaching a horizon, and the closer you got to it, the further you can see. I just I love that is your story, because I think that is, it's certainly my story as well, and I think so many people. But it's so easy when we see people's before and afters to feel like, oh, they just immediately had everything together from day one.
Right.
They just figured it out. And like, here I am still struggling with X, Y, and Z. So I love that was your story.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah. Yeah, go for it.
Oh, I think what I want to know is, I think it's the same for everyone. Getting into the exercises and the routines, if you really put your mind to it, that's the easiest thing. But but food is always the hardest thing to do. And how how are you able to do it? I mean, was there some ease in being able to prep for food, or being able to access easy food or healthy foods? Or it's just, that's the hardest part, especially depends on where you live, what your schedule is.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if you have a kid, it's like, oh, okay, I take care of my kid. But at the same time, if you take care of your kid, you're home, which means you're prepping for your kid, but you're also prepping for yourself. You know, that kind of thing. It's like, but for us who, like, what was your experience on handling food consumption?
Well, what I did, I meal prepped all of my lunches. I would spend Sunday night pretty much meal prepping, and I had the containers. I was that person that would bring, my Tupperware container with me wherever I went. And it was usually like some kind of chicken, a rice, or some kind of carb, and then a veggie. So Sunday night I would prep for the week. So I would have, I measured things out at the end. And then I would get little bags of like carrots or whatever, and just already have them ready just for grabbing things. Because that was my biggest problem, was on the go food, or just needing a snack of some sort. So I would spend my Sunday night just figuring that out, prepping that stuff out for the week. Another big thing, and it was Shakeology, to be honest with you. And before I tried it, I was like, I'm never spending that amount of money on it. I'm just not going to. But then I got it, and I didn't have cravings for the chocolate. And, my biggest thing was salt and vinegar chips. I can't, if I have one, I'm going to eat the entire bag, and my face is going to be this big in the morning. So, but Shakeology really helped curb those cravings, and was kind of like an on-the-go type of a thing too. But prepping for dinners, I didn't make the food in advance, but I knew what I was going to make for the whole week of meals. So I was able to just figure that out. And I figured it out while I was doing the lunch prep for the week on Sunday night.
Do you have any suggestions on, for people like us who are trying to be frugal, trying to be creative, so we don't really spend that much money? Because that's one thing. It's like, one of my experiences, the programs, they're not expensive. It's the food that's expensive,
Yes.
So what, do you have any tips on, what to get, or where to get it, or, think that would still be healthy,
Oh yeah, definitely. We're a family of 5 on one income. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have the Beachbody money that comes in, but it's my husband's income. So that also helped a lot with planning beforehand, because you're able to see, what the different things are on sale, what different cuts of meat. We eat a lot of meat here. And I don't know where you're at, but we have, it's Giant Eagle here. So they always have like a buy one, get one free, they run different specials every other week. One thing I just made, I did a crock pot chicken, a whole chicken in the crock pot. I can make from that. Now, actually, I just did this, and I shared it in my mom's group because it was clean eating on a budget. Good question. But from that, we've had 2 dinners. I made chicken stock from it, and made soup, and we're going to make chicken salad sandwiches. And I have 2 of those, and that was only $13. So that's going to be like a couple dinners, a couple lunches just on that. A place that I like to shop at, Aldi's. They have a lot of good things there. They have a gluten-free area, an organic area. Their produce is really good. I get a lot of stuff there. But planning, that's, because it's a lot of the money goes when you're just on the run and you're grabbing things and you don't plan it out. Because you can have leftovers the next day, if you plan it out right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I really did a lot. I mean, a lot of what you said. I'm also a stay-home parent myself.
Good job.
My daughter's 8. I only have one, but it's enough right now. My daughter's 18 months, and we moved from a brand new. We moved from California to Austin, Texas, once she was born, basically. And then as soon as we basically both applied for jobs, and whoever got the job first was who was going to go to work, and some other person going to stay home. So my wife sort of won that, and I relate a lot. I relate a lot to what you're talking about the constant depression. I did not have postpartum, but it's just you're a stay-home mom. You're kind of alone, and even with my daughter's condition, I can't go anywhere with her. She has to stay home. And so I related to a lot of your story, and a lot of sort of parenting advice is, take naps when they nap. And for me, I tried doing that, but I'd wake up angry that I didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, switching up my schedule, I was always a after work workout person. It's always been for years. And I just switched it to I'm going to choose one of these 30-40 minute workout things, and I did it during nap time, and I didn't sleep during nap time, and it was crazy. It's you're happier when you work out, you get more energy when you work out, you feel better when you work out. I did a lot of the meal prep like you, just as much as I could. I did so I don't know your name, but you're asking about cheap meals. I did Body Beast chili. I made that on Sunday. That lasted me the week. Same thing. My wife is the primary income, trying to figure out what meals to make. One big cheap way you could look into making some meals if you go vegan, if you're interested in going that route. That's a lot of savings there. But there's a lot of things about your story, that I definitely related to, and I thank you for sharing. And maybe one of the things I was going to ask you was, do you feel like your moods are they kind of still dip, but you're able to pull yourself back out of them because you know what to do?
Yeah.
Is that what you feel now?
Yeah, oh, definitely. It's still, Juju's coming back in. It's still, it's definitely, it's less time on a downswing. Say hi.
Hi, Juju.
Hey.
It's it's still it's like it's still like a roller coaster. It always will be, probably. But yeah, it's much faster getting out of it, because I know if I start eating bad, then I can tell my moods. My son and I can tell with my moods are going to be bad too. And it's the little steps. Start drinking your water again. Start just doing a 10-minute something. Just get going again. This is normal.
That's okay.
We have another one coming.
Can I ask another question?
Yes.
Okay, because this is going to be, I'm an opera singer, and I'm cramming a role that is usually studied for a year.
Okay.
And I'm cramming it in 2 months. And I know I am going to be in a very, very stressful. And I just started MHC, and it's the second week. And I want to be done in 60 days, which is just before I leave for Houston.
Okay.
But what can you suggest? Because I know it's different from what you've experienced. But for me, it's like yours was after the fact. For me, I'm like, okay, I'm doing this program, and I know I'm going to be stressed, and at one point going to be a little depressed.
Yeah.
Because it's how do you, and I think my outlet is working out. But what would you say, what would you advice, what should I do, or what should I think about, so that I could go through these two things that are like, because, working out and eating right takes a lot of time, as well as trying to study my music, that kind of thing. What would you suggest?
It's a ton of planning. You have to my biggest thing is with the meal prep, spend an hour. If you have an hour, like on a Sunday night, or an hour any day of the week, it doesn't matter, just to sit down and figure out, like, okay, this is what I'm going to eat this day for this dinner, this lunch. Just write it all out. Do that. That's going to be, because then you can forecast what you're going to do. The working out, what program are you doing?
The hammer and chisel.
Oh, okay, good. So those aren't. I would pre-cut my veggies and salads 4 to 5 days. Definitely, yeah. Pre-cut everything. But what Jeff said, it's planning. You have to take that time to plan, because if you're going to stress out through the entire week, then if you take that off of your plate, that like throughout the week, you're not going to have to worry about the food. You already know what it is. You already know what you're going to do. You have it marked in your fridge, and this is what you're going to eat. That's off of your plate for the whole week. So that's something you don't have to worry about. You only have to worry about what you're getting your workout in. But if you, and I'll tell you this, like, no one's perfect. You're probably going to miss a workout here and there, but I'm going to tell you, you're going to feel better if you don't. Even if, I've missed workouts and then I felt like crap because I didn't do it. And then I woke up the next day and I'm like, like, why did I do that? But I mean, you have a schedule coming up for it. But yeah, if you prep, do like, just figure out on a Sunday night or whatever night during the week, just so you know what you're going to eat. That's off the table. And figure out what days, the supermarket around you starts their sales, and kind of figure that out too, to keep the costs down too. Did that answer your question?
Yep.
Okay, good.
I think that is absolutely right. Like, prepping is, even though it feels like you're spending extra time, it's actually taking, it's much more efficient, and it'll take less time in the long run. I don't know about anybody else, but there are times when I am like working on a project all day and I'll forget to eat. Anybody else has been like so ingrained in what they're doing. And sometimes I have to set an alarm on my phone that just goes off at specific times to say, like, hey, stop whatever you're doing and go eat. Because if I don't eat, then there's this domino effect that my blood sugar goes down, and then like all my portions go out the window, and if there's any like crap around, that's the first thing.
It's me forgetting all the time, but I wonder why I feel sick. Right.
I have to admit, I cheat sometimes, and I just go ahead and spend what I would rather have the vegetables in my fridge and prepped for me than have them in there and not get them prepped. So I'll admit that there are a lot of times when I'll just go to the produce section and I'm like, oh good, prep this and prepped that and prep this, and it's all in my basket, and it's the lazy way out. but actually it's more cost effective for me than getting it and then throwing it out later.
Right.
Because if you don't eat it, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, like buying pre-cut veggies. Yep, I do that too.
Yeah.
And frozen. I know a lot of people are like, you have to have everything fresh and raw, but if it's between like not having your vegetables and having frozen vegetables, then have the frozen ones, I say.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah. For the dinners, that's usually what I do, is the frozen, and snacks are the fresh.
Right.
Michael, I think you just answered my question of how am I going to have 7 servings of vegetables, frozen vegetables? I never thought about that.
Mm-hmm. And frozen's are cheap. They tend to be a lot cheaper than the fresh. So I try to stay away from canned, but frozen's good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's huge. And I think at least in my mind, if you can get your food situated, that's like 80% of the stress.
Oh yeah.
Like everything else is, for me, feels manageable. It's the food that's the biggest part. So and that's the biggest thing that's going to make a difference in your results. So like, why wouldn't you put your energy in the thing that's going to make the biggest difference?
Right.
Like that just seems like the more efficient, smart way to do it.
Yeah, I would even, especially for having a kid. This might apply to you for rehearsing for your practicing for your role. But when I know I have time, whatever, even if it's like not a consistent like every Sunday, if I find myself with like a magical amount of time that I didn't think I had, I'm like, okay, I gotta do something right now, because I cannot anticipate having time later. And so you do it now, you get it done. You always feel better. And worst case scenario for me, I mean, I have like a couple extra bags of Shakeology because, I don't know, zombie apocalypse comes, I want to be prepared. But I am totally okay having 2 shakes a day. I think they even say like you can have 2 shakes a day, but that's pretty much the cutoff of the recommend, like what you want to do. I know I'm overdosing or I'm overdoing the superfood nutrient parts, but I usually use the second scoop of tropical strawberry. I pop it in a blender. I throw in an entire salad. Okay, I throw in like 5 servings of vegetables. I blend that mother up, and then I chug it, and it tastes wonderful. I mean, I do spinach, broccoli, tomatoes, carrots, cucumbers, scoop of Shakeology and water. There's like 4 or 5 servings of veggies done. I'm like, what else you got, Day? And yeah, my daughter wakes up. So hope that helps.
That's awesome.
Cool. Hey, we had some other questions earlier this week about form and breathing in particular. And I know Rolo was talking about breathing. Huge. And Jaimee, if you want to weigh in on the conversation as well, I would love to know your thoughts also. Of course, breathing's super important. You have to breathe. I guess I'd love to know, just Roro, would you just go ahead and ask your question again so we can get really specific about what the challenge is and what's the question, so we can go from there.
Well, first of all, from my experience, I loved Body Beast when I did it last year. Although, I told you I had 88 out of 90. What can you do? But I never had a problem when it came to resistance and weightlifting, because it was so easy to relate to what I do as a singer to do lifting. It's the cardio, because as a singer, unless you're a dancer, but as a singer, you don't do cardio when you perform. So it's an ongoing thing. So what my question is there a difference in breathing when it's cardio or legs as opposed to doing upper body? And how do you handle, because everybody has their own pace, but I just want to know a good way, or at least a good idea of how to control breathing so you can actually finish sets, because it's not that, oh, I'm weak. It's you're running out of breath, and part of your breath is your strength. So that's my question.
Yeah, I love that. There's like different ranges of breath, and it's really also tied to heart rate, because your heart rate increases, your breath increases as well. Or the amount of oxygen that your body is using increases or needs. And so like if you think about it in these different levels, like the lowest level is where you're kind of intentionally breathing. It's not a stressful thing, but you're breathing a little bit more than just at rest. That's level 1. Then level 2 is where you're breathing more, but you can still have a conversation. Which is kind of like the way I like to measure it. Like if you can still curse at the trainers, then like you're in that level.
Wait a minute. Cursing at Shanti or at Sagi always happens, no matter how out of breath I am.
No matter how out of breath you are.
When Shanti says, "Tell me what you really think."
And then like there's that last level where you're so breathless that you can't talk. And I know, like for me, when I was doing Insanity, I thought that was the level that I needed to be at. And I didn't realize actually until later when I was studying a little bit more about kind of how the body works, that that's actually not the most optimal level to be at when you're trying to burn fat. And I know a lot of us are kind of in that mode when we're trying to burn fat. So the trick is you want to kind of regulate your intensity, which is like your pace and your range of motion, so that you stay within that level where you're breathing heavily, but you can still curse at the DVD, basically. So if you feel like you're pushing so hard that you're like completely out of breath, then by all means take a little break. Like that's a good indication to push the pause button and then catch your breath. Lord knows I still do that. And then, when you're just about ready, you don't want to go all the way back down to normal, because then it takes it's hard to get back up. But then, kind of go back in there again and start it again. So that's kind of the range that optimal.
Can I chime in real fast? Because this is something, because I'm a speech therapist, this is something that I can't believe you don't know this, Mr. Singerman. But support. But I also have a dance background, and I've been forever and ever and all this other stuff. So a couple different things that dancers think about when they're performing or when they're rehearsing is you have pieces of the movements that you're doing where it's much easier to breathe, and that's where you're much less tense. And you take those moments when you can. So that helps, especially when you're up and down with the cardio, because there's that interval, and all of the Beachbody programs do an awesome job of doing the interval. And there are some movements that you'll find it a little easier. Take that and take those deep breaths. Another thing is a runner then, everybody has their own kind of technique. One of the things that I got out of Runner's World a couple of years ago that was like, boom, helped me immensely was breathing in for 3 counts and out for 2. So, and especially if I can get in through the nose and out through the mouth, that's huge. And that too, if you're alternating your feet, is 5 counts. So you're going to have a different stress pattern. And the man who did the research and put that all together actually did that so that you would stress both sides or de-stress both sides of your body as you were running. I just had one pop into my head, but I'll even do that like when I'm doing Insanity or something too, is as I'm doing those jacks, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And I use that breathing pattern in that even, and that helps. And even if I have to, those max 30 minutes when you like really want to die, and it's 1, 2, out 1, 1, 2, out 1. So you can adjust to your intensity that way too.
Yeah, I was just, thank you. I guess I was just saying, because as for most of us, I mean, we move, opera singers do move, but most of the time we're really more on the static side. Unlike musical theater and dancers, I mean, you move your feet like crazy. I mean, and your arms, we do that. But for us, it's that's why I said doing upper body, I can easily relate to, because everything is on a much more controlled a pace, or because you don't want to. But with when it's certain cardio and legs, the whole body's involved. And with what I do, it's rare, and that's why I'm like. And what you said, but the counting three, I tried that, and it would go okay for the first four, and it was like, okay, I'm running out of breath again. I'm not, maybe because I'm just not used to cardio. I'm not saying there are some singers who do marathons and stuff, half marathons and marathons. It's just such a new thing that I'm just glad that I am doing the cardio and the legs that earned the program, because I am not really a treadmill and elliptical kind of guy. I was like, no, I want something more physical. And I said, I hate it, but I know it's good for me. That's why I do it. But that's why I just have to know. And that's why it's a good thing. Thank you for sharing what you know. Cause that I could try some of that and try to integrate that,
And look around too in the different running magazines and the different running books too, because I'm sure there are 20 bazillion techniques out there. You've got 20 bazillion runners. Everybody does their own thing. But that was something that was easy for me to fall into. One of my friends who's a musician just couldn't do it because she couldn't wrap her head around not being even, having even beats. So, which I get too, because grew up in a very musical place too, but it's just, it's hard, and it's wrapping your mind around that just different concept. But sometimes I will, when I'm running too, I will control the tempo of my run by breathing. And that's a good thing. Okay, I'm obviously way pushing it, so I'm going to slow down my jumping jacks. I'm going to slow down my pace when I'm running. By really controlling that beat of how much is going in and how much is going out.
I hope your goal has a lot of 5/8 time signatures.
See, I hate cardio. I hate it. So that's why, like with Body Beast, I really like his cardio, because it's more of like a hit cardio, the high intensity. And that's actually something I found, if anyone has thyroid problems, that type of a cardio is better than the long, like running or like long drawn out cardio. So I don't know, whenever I can't do long cardio. I tried. I can't. Maybe not that I can't. I don't want to, because I don't like it. But like Sagi's cardio, like you go real hard, for a minute or whatever, then you stop 30 seconds. That's when I kind of catch my breath, and then it's just enough. It just gives me that enough time to go again.
Yeah. And I've actually been liking the hammer and chisel cardio, just from a variety standpoint. They really kind of they change it up. It's a lot better than doing an elliptical or being on a treadmill. I also want to just echo one thing that Stephanie said, kind of in passing, and just draw this out. That is breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, how important that is. And this is something that I actually work with a lot of my voice students as well. And especially as singers, as we breathe in through the nose hydrates the air, and it warms the air, and it cleans the particles out of the air. If you have your lovely nose hairs, I hope somebody gets a screen cap of that. That'd be lovely. Oh my gosh, I bet Peter just did that. Rather than breathing in through the mouth, and I'm sure Roro, you already know this, but there's like a really simple little experiment we can all do that I hope Peter gets a little screen cap of. It's stick your tongue out, and then take some 4 deep breaths in through the mouth and out through the mouth, and leave your tongue out. Okay. And now, when you finish with that, thank you for everybody who was doing that with me. For everybody else who's leaving me hanging, notice how dry and sticky your tongue gets after just 4 breaths. Imagine what it would be like to do 30 minutes of cardio and you're breathing in and out through your mouth alone. how that also dries out not only your tongue, but your entire your entire larynx, the entire esophagus. And if your vocal folds, of course, are dry, then they're going to get sticky and they're going to hang together, and then they'll slam together, and that creates, of course, inflammation. So that's a bad thing. So as much as we can, breathe in through the nose and then out through the mouth. And I know for those who are experiencing seasonal allergies, a great remedy for allergies is working out. Once your heartbeat starts going and your breath starts going, I know for me, a lot of the congestion starts to clear up. So it's much more possible to breathe in through the nose. There we go. We all got voice lessons too. Hey, multi-use. Well, cool. Well, we are at an hour right now, so I'm gonna call it quits, but I want to thank everybody who came to join live and for everybody who was watching the video afterwards. Thank you for taking this time and really investing this time in yourself. That means that you're serious about what you're doing, and that really means a lot. And I also want to give a final thank you to Jaimee. You absolutely rock. Your story was so good, so powerful, and I love your family and your kids, and just know that we are cheering you on all the way for whatever lies ahead of you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And everybody else says thank you as well. Great. Well, have a great night, everybody, and we will see you all next time on Monday Mojo.
See ya.